The following program is rated PG and may contain mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
The Super Channel Heart and Home After Show with special guests Kevin Smith, Kevin McGarry, Viv Leacock, and now the host of the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show, Elliott Wallach.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show. You just watched episode 5 of Calls the Heart. And for those of you with kids, you probably are having some flashbacks, I know I did, to just the tiring job of raising a brand new baby. But you know what? Hope Valley's going to show up to help, maybe to their surprise. Let's take a look.
Thank you so much for letting me sleep in.
Oh, but who needs sleep when you can spend every minute just looking at her? Shh. Oh, goodness.
Whoa. Hard to believe it's been 3 weeks already, huh?
How was it working with that little baby?
Well, that particular baby was a joy. Little babies like that, I mean, that was a brand new baby. As brand new as I think they're willing to dare to bring onto set. It was cool. That smell, that newborn smell and that feel, not even to the point where they really cry much. They sort of mew and they gum things in their little hands and they stretch out. And after that, I ended up just watching all my old videos of my kids when they were that age.
You did?
I did.
Made
I
you
love
want to
little
reminisce?
kids. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed it a lot. It was really neat. Pascal and I just we did a few scenes laying in the bed and stuff like that. And in between takes, we just keep holding the kid. And the parents were very cool. But it just has that new baby smell. You can't beat that.
Do they use more than one baby? Because the baby's growing a little bit.
Yeah, they often do. On shows like ours, we have one baby, and then we just have to sort of make do. And as babies age on this show, not every year do we swap, but sometimes kids no longer want to be a show, or they're just, their childhoods don't follow this sort of same path and they want to move on, or the age that we jump too much or too little. And so you kind of just have to be malleable.
Kind of like they did with little Jack.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
took out
like
the
they did with
Taylor
Little Jack.
twins
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Highland.
Whereas some of the other kids that have kind of been with us the whole time, they've just sort of grown with it, and a lot of them have enjoyed staying on the show and been on the show and didn't have other things that they wanted to do more. So it's hard to write for a baby, because babies don't do what you tell them to do, because they're babies. And yet you've got this giant machine that needs to be fed. You've got a crew of 100 people running around and time. And babies are tough, but when you get something, it's gold. You can't buy it. It's an amazing thing when the kid stuff works out, but it is challenging.
Well, it's definitely a life change for Lee and Rosemary.
Yep.
Let's take a look at how they're coping.
Okay, glasses on. I'm watching.
We're coming!
Yep, hold on. Okay, it's not so bad. It's not too bad. Sweetheart, what do you think? Ready? Door?
No!
Hold on, just a minute. Almost there.
Food delivery.
Yeah, okay. We good?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Ladies, right on time. Please do come in.
Please.
Hey.
All right, you lost me when everybody else showed up. But I was paying attention when it was just Pascal and I.
What do you think? How do you think they're adjusting?
I completely forgot about that scene. And it was really fun. And I do remember when my wife and I had kids that it is exhausting.
So Pascal said that she advocated for this storyline. Did you guys talk about it ahead of time?
Yes, we did. And she did. I would like to give her the gears a little bit and make fun of her, because that's what I do. But it's true. She did advocate for that. I personally leaned more towards the adoptive storyline, not because necessarily the story was any better or worse, but because I'm not young and I wasn't sure about having Lee be a dad at that age. But she was convinced that it was the right thing to do for the storyline of the characters, for the family, and I think she was right. I think that she was right in her determination to get that done. And shooting, like I said, shooting with kids is no small task. You as to be as a conscientious human and as an actor, you're kind of taking on two roles when you work with a kid, especially little kids. You're not just an actor. It's not just a job. Even though you'd like to say it, you're in a position where you have to exercise some care for this child. So the parents have trusted that they can put the kid in your care, and you have to take that on, whether you want to or not. In between takes and while you're shooting, you can say, as soon as I'm done, I'm tired, I want to break, I'm going to go to the green room, but it's not fair to the kid. Because you have to look at how children look at this kind of a thing. So if you're going to employ a little kid, especially babies like this, there is a certain burden, a responsibility as a decent human being to try and do well by that kid who is working. So you got to kind of go above and beyond. So that's why I was a little reluctant in the first place. I didn't know if I had it in me. So it's worth going the extra mile and trying to be a good person as well as an actor. So it crosses the line. I wasn't sure about it, but Pascal got me on board. So the long-winded answer to your question is yes. She gets all the kudos for pushing that through.
Well, I'm glad you did. I know the fans definitely wanted it. And it's already set up some funny scenarios. Let's take a look at one.
Sure. Glasses on.
You two should go.
What?
Us? Yes. I mean, it must be hard for you to find time to see each other. Yes, you two need a night out. Not just a night out, a date night. A romantic date night.
Date night would be nice.
Don't be ridiculous. I'm not being ridiculous. You could leave little Jack with us. 2 is just as easy as 1. That's what I always say. Don't I always say that?
Are you sure about that, Rosemary?
Of course. Let me do this for you. I would love it. We would both love it. Think of it as a little pre-honeymoon honeymoon.
Man, she talks a lot.
That's what we love about her.
Yeah.
What do you think his inner voice was saying in that moment?
Probably, I'm tired and I would like a little bit of time with you alone. I mean, he says it in the thing where he's a date night would be nice. So I think that a date night would be nice. And to take that back and make a personal reflection, when my wife and I were in that, having date nights really helped. I mean, we mocked people that had date nights when we didn't have kids. I'm like, oh, the losers need a date night. But actually having a date night, even if you don't do anything, just sit there and talk, it makes all that struggle and the sleeplessness worthwhile. Or at least it helps.
Yeah, because it's all consuming otherwise.
All consuming.
Although, are you talking about the kids when you're on date night?
Yeah, still. It's all we talk about is the kids, even to this day. I don't know. There's something about the energy of just being with your partner and sort of gaining strength from it, I guess.
How do you think Lee and Rosemary are going to be as parents?
Well, I imagine it'll be much like they are in real life. I think he'll be fairly calm, and I think she will be not so calm, and they'll fight the battles as they come. But I think that they both really wanted this. So for years, this was dangled as a carrot. And I think that as a result of that, they're grateful. They're very joyful and grateful that a little later in life that they're able to have a baby. So I think it's just going to be a lot of fun. I think that it'll end up being a real boon to their relationship, which was already good. But this throws a dynamic in. There's a saying, I forget where I heard this, but something, and obviously it's a very broad brushstroke, but that you don't really grow up until you have kids. Because you don't have to love anybody more than yourself until you have kids. But once you do that, you finally get to step outside of your own shell. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what it's like for them to step out of their shell.
Well, thanks for joining me to talk about episode 5. Hopefully we can get together again and talk about another episode.
Well, you've got money for 3 cameras, so I think I should be paid for the next one.
Yeah, well, we're just eating carrots and celery.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's where we're cutting costs.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Kevin is absolutely correct. We did actually have 3 cameras to shoot this behind the scenes. We wanted to do something extra special. We wanted to bring you something that maybe give you some insight that you wouldn't find anywhere else. For example, when they're wearing their outfits, sometimes they are super hot, super uncomfortable, and sometimes they're shooting them on super hot, super uncomfortable days. So they'll end up changing their clothes between takes and then change them back again because, why be miserable? So if you've ever wondered, if I saw Kevin McGarry at the store, would I recognize him without a red serge? Would I recognize him if he wasn't wearing suspenders and some old 1900s outfit? Well, now's your chance to know.
Kevin, thanks for joining me for episode 5.
Of course, thanks. Hope you don't mind my real clothes right now. Hope that'll be
In your
okay.
leisure wear.
In my leisure wear. This is what I wear in between setups. So
The
get a bit of
Mountie
behind the
outfits.
scenes.
Yeah.
Gets a little stuffy. So yeah, this is nice. I can breathe in this.
So this season, we've gotten to see a lot of interaction between you and Allie.
Yes.
How has it been working with Jada and watching her grow up over the years?
Jada is the one I think that I have noticed the biggest change. When I started working with her, she was like, noticeably younger. And now Jada's actually 17 years old, which is wild. When you see these kind of teenagers, playing these parts and wearing these old-timey dresses or the suspenders that the guys wear or whatever, like you kind of just think, oh, they're little kids. And then you're back in the trailer and they've changed into what, the teenagers wear today. And, you're kind of talking to them before they leave and you're just like, you're so much older than what you've been playing. So Jada for sure has just evolved so much as an actor, as a person as well, but as an actor, yeah, she's just, I find we have a deeper connection and she's gone deeper as an actor too with a lot of the choices she's made. And she's just, she's great. She's wonderful.
Well, as your relationship has changed off screen, it's also changed on screen. I have a clip to show you.
Okay.
Take a look.
Oh, good. Let's see the clip.
Thank you for giving her the day off school.
It's not a problem. The class is doing an outdoor project, so your trip is the perfect complement.
To be honest, I'm
Suspenders on, but
I'm a little nervous. Our conversations really haven't been they haven't been as easy as they used to be. Just teenagers.
Dad, can Angela come on our camping trip with us? Oh, Allie, I wouldn't want to be in the way.
No, yes. Please, if it's okay with your parents. And Mrs. Thornton, of course.
Of course it is. You girls have fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
We saw that. So I've seen this clip before. And Kayla was saying, it looks like you're kissing your bicep on the way out. But it's the dog that is not in shot that I am, kind of like, let's go this way. But I do this. It's insane.
I did not notice that.
Well, it's very funny now. That's all I look at. I'm sure you have a question about Jade.
No, I wanted to know why you were kissing your bicep.
Well, I was kissing, well,
That was my
I just
question.
saw it there and I was like, well, it's not going to kiss itself.
Why do you think he's so uncomfortable about going on this camping trip with her?
Well, I think as, kids get older, they have questions and I think Nathan is afraid as Allie becomes a woman that he's not going to be able to answer the questions that she has. So it's getting to that kind of stage with the two of them right now. So when she wants to bring a friend, it's like, oh, thank you. Please bring your friend.
Yeah, a little buffer.
You guys can talk. Yeah. It's just that awkward stage where kids are too cool for school with their parents.
Yeah.
That's where we are now.
So do you like to camp in real life? Are you outdoorsy?
I wouldn't say no to it if people were going, but it's not like, no, I don't go out of my way to be like, hey, let's go sleep in a tent in the chased by a
In the
bear.
dirt.
Yeah, I know. Give me a hotel.
Yeah.
Downtown in a city.
So in this episode, Joseph eventually joins them on the camping trip.
Yes. Saves my skin.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
How has it been working with Viv?
Viv's great. He's just like a seasoned professional and just like a lovely human being. He's slowly getting his whole family on the show. I don't know what racket he's got going on with the producers. But he's fantastic. And he's been a staple for Hallmark for a long time. And it's great to have him on the show.
Yeah. Have you worked with him before?
No, this is my first time. I didn't know. I'm not, a lot of the Vancouver actors that work on the show are kind of in the same circle and know of each other, but I'm not in Vancouver, I'm Toronto. So I get to know everybody when they come on the show. But yeah, Viv's just been lovely and he's got a caring heart and he's a very talented actor. And yeah.
What do you think his character brings to the show?
Faith is a big one. But I think there's an understanding, he kind of comes on, and also a new family. I mean, he not only is he like the town pastor, but he's also a father with his own, kind of problems at home. So we kind of get to see this guy who's the voice for the people, as well as, a father voice for his family.
Allie talks about Angela a lot.
That's good to hear. Angela had a tough time making friends in the past.
Allie, too.
Yeah.
I owe you one for coming out here.
What's that?
2 days in the woods with 2 teenage girls. I mean, if you weren't here, I'd have nobody to talk to but myself.
I got you.
So when I got the part of Joseph, I actually didn't realize that the character had children the same ages as my actor, like 2 of my 3 kids. I didn't realize that. So I knew the character had kids, but I thought they were gonna maybe be younger. And so then I was helping a couple of actors in town audition for the role of Minnie. And that's when I saw the actual breakdown for the kids. And I was like, wait a minute, I got 2 kids that are this age. So it was actually just kind of like, let me just see. I presented the idea to Vienna first, and she said no. She said no because Angela's blind.
Yeah.
And the show was going into its 8th season, and she basically was like, okay, these are things that are kind of messing with me, Dad. She said, the character's blind, and I don't want to make anybody upset by doing it incorrectly. The show is well into its run, well-oiled machine. Any mistakes are going to stand out. They're going to be glaring from newcomers. And then thirdly, she was like, how would you like to go to work with Granddad? And I was like, okay. I didn't think about it from that perspective. But Peter DeLuise, who's one of the directors on the show, he heard about the fact that my kids were going to audition, but that Vienna had said no. And he called and said, what are you talking about? She has to audition. He sent her a little video clip of himself saying, I will not let you down. I will not let you fail. Don't worry. And so she did the audition, and she was their choice. She was who they wanted to go with, because what she did in the audition was amazing. And then it was to convince Elias, who had never acted before, to come and be a part of the show. And again, Peter DeLuise, I have to thank him. He was so amazing. He kind of like worked with Elias and made sure he was comfortable. But at the end of the day, the kids, they have to be able to stand in front of people and deliver. And I'm really happy to see that they can and that they do. So
we get to see some of those family dynamics show up on screen. And I have a clip to show you of an interaction with Vienna.
All right.
What if Dad comes?
Well, I'd love to go, but I have work at the sawmill. I have to fix the railings on those fences, not to mention my sermons.
Just because you're busy shouldn't mean I don't get to go.
Next time, I promise.
Please, it's really important to me. I know you're looking at each other.
All right, you can go if you finish your homework beforehand.
And you promise to always listen to Constable Grant.
Yes, I promise. Thank you. I love you.
Love you.
Love you.
That's just like real life.
Can you relate to that?
1,000%. Yes, it's especially Vienna. Forget about it. She even looks at me like puppy dog eyes. It's over.
It's like no acting required.
It's no acting required. I'm not acting. I am that parent. And thank God for my wife, Davina, in real life. She is the brave one out of the 2 of us, because I was the kid who was the daredevil. I jumped off of everything. I did everything that could get you hurt. And I came away with a lot of cuts and bruises and thankfully no broken bones. But like, I pushed the envelope. So for me, watching my kids kind of do the same thing, I was like, oh my God, like I know what can happen. My wife, who didn't do half as much as I did when I was a kid, when we were kids, she was a lot less fearful about that happening. So she was like, relax, relax. And I'm like, you don't know what could happen here. This could all go sideways. So we're dealing with Vienna learning how to drive right now.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
my
that's
wife.
so scary. It's so scary as a parent.
It's so scary. My wife is like, I can't go. I can't take her. Because she reacts to everything. And then the Vienna's like, what? So I employ my Emmy-nominated acting skills. And I'm like, no, that was fine. That truck was not going to hit us.
Right.
We were totally in the right. Yeah.
A lot of deep breathing. Yeah.
Woosah. Yes.
When you see them on screen like that, do you feel more nervous? Like when you're watching that, do you feel more nervous for you or for them? Or when you're acting in a scene with them? Or maybe not nervous at all for anybody?
Yeah, you know, I'll say the season 8, that was nerve. That was pure nerves because there's no basis for them as far as like being on set, interacting with the crew, the jargon. Like I gave them a crash course on everything.
Right.
But I was like, did I miss anything? I was like, okay, your marks, and this is what this means, and this is what that means. I'm just trying to let them know what a film crew might say, because that's the things that you have to get used to, and how to ask if they don't understand something. But I was there for every scene that they shot. It's only now that I'm starting to kind of be like, no, let me just see what they do, rather than kind of watching the monitor. So I let them do their thing now. But watching them do this, it's a gift that keeps on giving. For any parent that wants their kid to follow them into like the family business, I didn't necessarily understand the motivation behind that. It was like, okay, yeah, sure, you carry on. The business carries on. But to watch your kid do something you do and do it well, that's like, yeah, I'm like, I gotta stop smiling. Just act like I'm like, the whole time, Joseph, something just happened. It was really bad. And I'm still.
But my kid's acting.
But my kids
They're doing it so well.
Yeah. I am literally not acting. I'm lucky enough to just be able to look at my own kids and, say what I would say.
So how do you think Minnie and Joseph are as parents?
Yeah, Minnie and Joseph, the thing that kind of like looks like my real life as well is that they're a team. There isn't like a head of the house and then everybody falls in line after. Those two check in on with everything with each other. Just like, with my wife and I, it's the same thing.
Well, he definitely listened to Minnie and decided to go on the camping trip.
Yes.
Why do you think he changed his mind?
They both recognize that one or the other is dragging their heels with something that they're uncomfortable with. So in season 8, it was a simple task where Angela climbed up on the piano when it was up in the buckboard. When we first moved to town, she climbed up, she found her piano, and she started playing. And Minnie was like, whoa, like scared that she'd fall. And Joseph's like, no, let her try. So he was cool in that respect. But now she wants to go away, and she's going to be away from him, especially, daddy. He can protect her and make sure she's safe. And you really do have that feeling in real life about your kids, how you will protect your kids versus how someone else will protect your kids. Totally. And I'm that person. Like if people are like, hey, we'll drive your kids to basketball practice. Like, no, I will drive. I will take them. I will take them because yes, I know you're going to protect them, but nobody's going to protect them like me or my wife.
Well, let's take a look at you on the camping trip.
Oh, okay.
Angela promised to sing for us. I did? Yep. Just pretend you're alone in your room. We aren't even here.
No, you're gonna make me cry
this
now, right?
little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Oh my gosh, that was beautiful. You sound just like your mama did singing choir back in St. Louis.
Thanks, Daddy.
I'm so glad I was here and I didn't miss this.
Me too.
No acting. I'm not acting. I'm saying those words that they gave me to say, but just like it hit me right now, is like it hit me then. If I watch my kids doing anything and they're doing it and they're comfortable doing it, man, there is no better feeling. Honestly, when you look and see that it's not because of me that they're doing this or trying to make me proud or anything, that they genuinely enjoy doing it, I don't think there's anything better than that.
Something else they do in this show is they incorporate a lot of faith, and Joseph brings a lot of faith. I mean, they just did it in that scene,
Yeah.
This Little Light of Mine. Why do you think it's so important for them to do that, or why does it resonate so much with the audience?
Faith was the thing that helped people get through. There was a way more unknowns, and you had to lean on your faith a lot more because they only knew that. They didn't know what we have. They only knew what they were going through. And so many things were unresolved. So many things were unfair. The balance of power was all over the place. The one place where people came together and everybody was equal was before the Lord, in church, in a setting like that. So vastly important. Like, not to say it's not important now, but we've done a lot of things, from a human rights perspective to help make people feel a little more equal when they're dealing with each other, but not so 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, faith was invaluable.
And you can see how it plays out in the town, invaluable to the town, and I think invaluable to the audience. It really resonates with the audience.
Yeah, this show reminds me of shows that I watched when I was a kid, and the thing that was so great about that time is that everybody could watch. And there wasn't a, like, parents could leave the room. They're not worried about what the kids are going to see or hear. And yeah, you don't often see shows talking about faith anymore. It's something that has kind of gone by the wayside, and it's a huge part of the world. And people are extremely religious, and their faith is their number one. And yeah, it's nice to be able to reflect that, because there's not a lot of places that audience can kind of go and find something that lines up with their thought process. So.
Well, thank you for taking the time to recap episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you'll join me for another episode.
Oh, yes. Let's do it.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Well, that concludes our program. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much to all the actors, all the people that helped us put this together. And we'll see you next time on the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show.